The UCC Business Development and Consulting Institute is a multifunctional DBJ-approved business development organization that provides services to assist MSMEs in achieving their business objectives. Our business consulting services improve all facets of corporate operations. Our back office services, Value Edge and Legal Bloom, are designed to provide an effective suite of accounting and financial management solutions and assist businesses in formalizing their activities while conforming to the legal framework such as tax and labor requirements. Learn more about our services at BDCI.co.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tenio Howell. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tenio Howell Huzzy. I am the manager at the University of Commonwealth Caribbean Business Development and Consulting Institute. Today, we are welcoming you to our sensitization session for SMEs titled Intellectual Property, the Benefits and Basics of Registration. So today's presenters are from JIPO and JACAP, but before that, we will look at what the BDCI does. Okay. Right, so the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean has an arm here where we just focus on entrepreneurs and improving and helping in the growth of businesses. So when persons ask me, what do I do? I say, well, I'm in the business of helping businesses grow. So we are an operational unit within the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean and a member of the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, our Small Business Development Center network. Our mission is to provide business advisory and consulting services to entrepreneurs and existing businesses. We focus on helping MSMEs, and our goal is to contribute to create impacts that support economic growth through fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. Our target clients are usually, well, tier one. They're all MSMEs, but we have tiered them up. So the tier ones are normally the ones that are now starting a new business. So those are the startups, right? You don't know what type of business you want, or you're just starting your business and you need advice on what to do next. So we're here to help. Tier two, these are the businesses that are registered. But yes, you may be registered, but you do not have the business set up already. So yes, they're in the early stages of the business venture. Tier three now you're established, you're making money, and these are usually persons or companies that are making over 15 million in revenue, but you're looking to expand. You may be looking for financial assistance. You may even be looking to go abroad. So we would be there to help. The services that we offer are business advisory and consulting services. We also offer training and development, research and development, mentorship and coaching, back office services, business consultants, registry. So we have persons that if you want to get a business plan or anything like that done, we will provide that service, but we'll get into this in the slides. So business advisory. It is usually from ideation to market. So we cover the full entrepreneurial cycle. We look at evaluating your business idea or your concept and see how we can improve it. We also look at the business model assessment, your customer development and relations, revenue, business model, and IT systems. We help to develop your pitch for you so that when you go to the bank, you can definitely come out saying, okay, I feel as if I definitely got that money. And we also help you with your partnerships and your legal issues and team building. Business consulting. Now, this is the part where we look at providing services to you, such as website development, e-commerce platforms, app developments, marketing plans, business plans. We do all of these different plans, studies, and so forth. This is through our consultant registry. So if you need a service conducted, we can do it for you. We also provide training. Naturally, we are connected to a university, so we do have classes. So right now we are putting on our Starting a Business 101 workshop because we realize that we have lots and lots of startup companies coming to us. So we decided to focus on creating a workshop for them. So we have ideation, which looks at building out your idea. We also had business plan writing, record keeping and budgeting, pitching, understanding financial statements, costing, pricing, and ROI, taxation and compliance. And all of these have been completed already. What is to come now is marketing tools, digital marketing, website design and e-commerce, team building, and fundraising and partnerships. So those are the courses that we have coming up. We also provide free growth wheel assessments. Growth wheel is a visual toolbox and online platform used by business advisors to help businesses make decisions and take action. What we do is use it as a tool to work with you, the client, to help you to make decisions on what next actions you're going to take. May be in your communications and PR, you may see that you're not so strong in it, so we will help you to develop a plan for it. Say for instance, you don't have a customer portfolio, we will help you to create your customer portfolio. Who's your ideal customer, right? So we will use that platform along with you to help make decisions and take action. We also have the BDCI mentorship program, which would also be along with the Growth Wheel program. And this is to provide mentorship for small business owners and managers, right? We also have our back office services, which are Legal Bloom and Value Edge. Legal Bloom now, this is where we would provide legal advice in business formalization process. So we would go to Companies Office of Jamaica and make the whole system seem a lot easier for you. We also prepare contracts and legal documents. And like I said, we register and incorporate businesses as well as charities. We do business renewals, annual returns, director removals, and so forth. We just make that whole process for you a lot easier. Value Edge, we also realize that a lot of SMEs have problems with their accounting, especially record keeping and budgeting. So we have this office, well, this service here. So we help you to keep better records. We also help to set up your books for using QuickBooks. And if it is that you want to use QuickBooks on your own, we can also offer QuickBooks training, right? We also do research and development. The research effort is the final component of the Institute. It complements the other areas of the activities of the BDCI and supports the academic mission of UCC. We conduct industry and market research, applied research, feasibility studies, economic impact assessments, and so on. If you want to get in contact with us, you can call us at 906-3000, or you can go on our website or email us at success@bdci.ucc.edu.jm, and you know where you can contact us. You could come in and look for us. We're the only green building at UCC. Everything else is blue, we're green. Or you can even check us out on our website, which is www.bdci.co, or Instagram at UCC-BDCI. So thank you for listening to my presentation. And now we're going to go on to the persons that are working with us today. And that is Vivian Rose and Kenisha Hewitt. First, we'll have Mr. Vivian Rose present. So, Mr. Vivian Rose is the manager of copyright and related rights at JIPO. Vivian was called to the Jamaican bar in 2017, where he worked in private practice before joining the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, JIPO. His practice areas include civil and commercial litigation, probate, and real property. His years in practice have been spent in leading and supporting roles in complex civil and commercial litigation and real property matters. He has represented international institutions, real estate development companies, insurance broker agencies, media houses, credit unions, engineering companies, and personal injury individuals at the parish courts, Supreme Court, and Court of Appeal. Mr. Rose read for his law degree at the University of the West Indies and for his legal education certificate at the Norman Manley Law School. Vivian is also a former Constitutional Committee chairperson of the Norman Manley Law School Students Association. Vivian has a love for music and sports and can often be found on weekends engaged in sporting activities. Mr. Rose.
Hello, everyone. Everyone is hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Yes, thank you for the introduction, Ms. Hussey. It's a pleasure being here. So let me just share my screen. All right, so welcome everyone. At the end of the presentation, we should all have some basic knowledge of IP and how IP can be beneficial to you in your businesses or even as an individual. All right. So as indicated, I'm Vivian Rose. I'm the copyright and related rights manager here at JIPO. All right. So let me just indicate what we do here at the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office. We are a government agency under the umbrella of the Ministry of Industry, Investment, and Commerce, responsible for administering intellectual property in Jamaica, as well as we deal with IP registration, including trademark, designs, patents, geographical indication, and the voluntary registration of copyright and related rights. And we also engage in public education, such as what I'm doing today, all right? So what is intellectual property? So as You're hearing the name property, so you think of land or your car. It's a similar concept, right? It's something with value. So it's the legal right which results from intellectual activity in the scientific, industrial, literary, artistic, musical, or dramatic fields. So as you can see, it covers a wide area. So under the intellectual property branch, there are a number of different areas, such as industrial property, which is further divided into designs, patents, trademarks, and geographical indications. You also have copyright and related rights and traditional knowledge. So I'm going to cover some of these today, not all of them, and expound on them so you'll better be able to understand what they mean, right? So the main question today would be, why protect your intellectual property? Whether it's be as an individual or as a business owner. So it's essential to maximize profit. It spurs economic growth, creates new jobs and industries, enhances the quality and enjoyment of life. It's an intangible asset, which is valuable to a company. It forms part of the business valuation. It can be bought, sold, licensed, or willed, right? So intellectual property right gives the owner of the right, gives the owner the right to prevent the unauthorized copy, sale, offer for sale, use, or passing off of their work. It also gives you the right of compensation where your right has been infringed. So these are important to note. So it also gives you an exclusive right. So owners of intellectual property rights are entitled to remedies under the relevant IP laws. So the ones that are previously mentioned, copyright, trademarks, patent, each of them are governed by specific acts, and they all have different remedies and rights associated with them. It gives the owner the exclusive right to the use and control use and copying of their IP. All right, so we're going to start off by dealing with copyright. So these are just some of the areas in which copyright are divided. So you have literary works, which is written works, dramatic works. So you think of plays, movies, artistic works, painting, and typographical arrangement of public editions. And you also have musical works, right? So you see it covers a wide area of different works. So with copyright, you have what we call related rights. So related rights are the rights to persons who deal with the communication of the copyright. So you see we have a list of persons, performers, so singers, dancers, musicians, actors. So for example, if you're good at writing songs, then you'll be the copyright owner if you write the lyrics, but you're not a very good singer. So you get a friend or you get somebody who would perform the song on your behalf. I see somebody have their hands raised. Yeah, you can. Well, I think there's a question and answer, but you can go ahead. Hello? Yeah, I'm not hearing the person. Well, there's a question and answer. If I'm not sure if you're unable to speak now, but if not, they can put it in the chat, or it can be addressed at the end.
I unmute her, so she just has to go ahead.
Okay, you can go ahead now. All right, so I'm going to continue until she's able to speak. All right. So, all right, so you also have the producers of phonogram and broadcast organizations. So these persons, they gain the benefit because they add some input to it. So the ability to put the work in a way where it's presented on TV or on the radio, the ability to sing the song. So they are able to earn or benefit from the related rights associated with copyright. All right, so some of the rights afforded to copyright owners include economic rights. And when I hear economic, you know, so this is what we're dealing with in terms of the ability to earn, right? So you have the exclusive right to copy. So if you make a song, you are able to reproduce it as much as you want. You're able to distribute it for the purpose of sale or for the purpose of persons being familiar with it. You're able to perform in public, broadcast, or adapt your work. So if you write a novel and it's in English, if you want to have it sold in a foreign country which speaks a different language, as the copyright owner, you have that ability, right? There are also moral rights. So the right of attribution, which is the right to be recognized as the owner of the work. So if I write a novel, the right of attribution would be that the novel will be, I would be known as the author, right? So if anybody is utilizing my work, they would have to indicate that I'm the author. And also you have the right of integrity. So that means that persons are not allowed to use your work in a way that which you're not in agreement with or which would affect the value of your work. All right, so how does your work qualify for copyright? So it needs to be written in a tangible form. So by that we mean written on paper or recorded. It arises automatically. So there's no formal requirement for registration as it relates to copyright protection, right? So I know a number of you guys may have seen like in novels or on CDs, the C within the circle, that's the copyright logo. And persons often put that so that anybody is utilizing the work, they know that it's copyright protected. You put your name and the date of creation, and this is what we call the notice to the world. So one of the ways you can further protect yourself, because as I indicated that the protection is automatic, but there are always ways to provide yourself with additional protection. One of these ways are the poor man copyright. So here you put a copy of your work in an envelope and you send it to your address. So whether your business address or your home address, put your business or home address on the envelope, take it to the post office and you send it to yourself by registered mail. And this remains unopened until you have to go to court in the event that someone is infringing on your work and you need to take them to court, and it will be opened at court, right? And this is what we call the poor man copyright. So a simple method of giving yourself additional protection. In addition to the poor man copyright, we have at JIPO, the voluntary copyright registration service. And as I indicated before, there's no requirement for formal registration, which is why it's voluntary, right? A number of individuals have utilized this service. Yes, Ms. Brown, you can go ahead with your question. Oh, yeah. Oh, she's not able to talk?
Once they raise their hands, they're given the permission. So I'm
Okay.
not sure what's happening.
Oh, yeah, I'm not hearing anyone. All right, so I'm going to continue. So if you have a question, just put them in the chat or we can address them later on at the end. All right. Yes, as I was saying, we offer JIPO the voluntary copyright registration service, and this is providing copyright owners with additional evidence, right? So here you complete two forms, the application for registration form. Here you provide information about the work, so you see the title of the work, the date of creation, publication, the name of the author and our copyright owner. And this must be witnessed by a justice of the peace, a lawyer, a pastor, or a doctor. Also, you have the declaration of copyright ownership and or authorship, right? Similar information about the work and the author. The difference is that this one has to be witnessed by a justice of the peace, and it's done for each work. So if you're doing multiple works, say for example, you're doing a song, you can put multiple songs on the application form, but each song would need their own declaration form, right? Oh, it seems that Ms. Brown is having some technical issues. So I guess somebody will be able to assist you in that regard, Ms. Brown. Right. All right, so, and then for whatever work you're doing the voluntary registration, you'll have to provide us with a digital copy of the work, all right? So the duration of copyright. So when you have a protection and you have a right in something, it's always good to know how long that lasts. Is it for a lifetime? Is it for a certain duration? So as it relates to copyright, so for literary, musical, dramatic, and artistic works, these are protected for the life of the author plus 95 years. So if you live to 90, then it will be for 90 years for your life and then 95 years after you have died, which is why I mentioned in one of the earlier slides that it's something that you can will. IP is something that you can will, all right? For sound recordings, broadcast films, cable programs, it's 95 years from the date of creation or publication, whichever one is later. Typographical arrangements is 50 years. And for the respective periods, whenever they expire, then the work becomes the public domain, meaning that persons can use the work and it wouldn't amount to infringement. They can use it freely and it wouldn't amount to infringement, all right? All right, so in Jamaica, we have some collective management organizations, and these are nonprofit bodies who are here for the benefit of copyright owners. So they issue license on behalf of members, and they're able to aid you in earning from your work. So if you have a song or you wrote a novel, or if your company have certain copyright material and persons wish to utilize it, if you're a member of one of these respective CMOs, individuals can go there, obtain a license, which they would have to pay for. And then from that, you are able to earn, right? So it's always good to know the CMOs when you're in the area of copyright, as they're to the benefit of copyright owners and allow you to earn, right? All right, I'm trying to get this. Questions, keep on. Oh, so the costs for registration. Right. All right, so the cost depends on what you're doing. So there's a general registration fee of $1,000. But say, for example, you're doing a novel, then if it's under 100 pages, it would be in total $2,000. If you're doing a sound recording, it would be $2,000 if it's under 15 songs. So it depends on what you're doing. There are various prices. So what I can do is I can provide the UCC body with a list of the fees, and that can be shared with you guys later on. All right. All right. So what happens when someone infringes on your economic rights? So this is under section, or what amounts to an infringement of economic rights. So this is section 31 of the Copyright Act. So if someone does any of the exclusive activities without the permission or license of the copyright owner, and the exclusive activities are the ones I mentioned earlier. The right to copy the work, the right to distribute the work, those rights, right? So if you do any of those without the copyright owner, then you're committing an infringement. So an infringement of a moral rights would be failure to identify the author of the work, a derogatory treatment of the work, or the falsely attributing authorship of a work to a person, right? So we're moving on from copyright into patent. I'm just going to briefly indicate what a patent is and how you would be able to obtain one, right? So a patent is the exclusive right granted by the state for an invention that is new, involves an inventive step, and is capable of industrial application. And in Jamaica, under the new Patents and Designs Act 2020, the duration of the patent is for 20 years. So what is an invention? So an invention is a product or a process that provides a new way of doing something or offers a new technical solution to a problem. And these are the conditions for obtaining a grant. So a patent may be granted only for an invention in respect of which the following conditions are satisfied. So the invention is new or novel. It involves an inventive step, and it is capable of industrial application, right? Some questions. Okay. All right, so we're moving on to trademark now. So trademarks are distinctive signs and symbols, including names, logos, shapes, sounds, odors, and even sounds. It applies to the owner's products or services to distinguish them from those provided by competitors. So these are very important to business individuals, right? Persons in the business field. So the registration of a mark makes it easier to prove ownership and prevent competitors from copying. The trademarks must be distinctive for the product or service involved, different from any earlier trademark or similar products or services. And your trademark is a central part of your brand identity. And you'll understand this more as I go along in the slide, all right? So some examples of trademarks in Jamaica, you have the JIPO logo. You see you have the UCC logo, the Business Development and Consulting Institute, and you have the national logo. So these are all trademarks, which when you see them, you're able to identify the relevant business or the relevant, in the case of national, you go to the supermarket, you're able to identify the national bun, right? Different from other bun. So when Easter time is coming up, if you love national bun, you're able to go to the supermarket and get your national bun, and you're not mixed up or confused with in terms of any other bun, right? All right, so in terms of registered trademarks in Jamaica, there's a formal registration required. So it's not like copyright. There is a formal registration required, and that's done at JIPO. So it's a one-stop shop for all your IP needs, right? So make it convenient for you guys. So the registration is valid for 10 years and it's renewable indefinitely. And it's protected under the Trademarks Act. So I'm just going to show you, highlight some of the fees, but I should indicate to you guys that these fees are going to be changed. I'm not sure when, but as it is now, these are the current fees, all right? So if you have a trademark and you want to, if you have a logo and you want to have it trademark protected, come in and do it, all right? So trademark registration fee is payable in 2 stages. Upon application, a fee of 7,800. And the application fee includes the payment for the first class and then 2,200 for any additional class. By class, we mean the relevant area you fall in terms of the service you offer or the product. So if it's a financial institution, then that would be a class. If you're in the business of bakery, if you're a bakery, if you're a supermarket, each of those have different classes, right? So upon acceptance of the mark for registration, these additional fees are payable, right? So it's a two-step process, right? So just bear these fees in mind, but also bear in mind that they are subject to change. There's also the Madrid Protocol. And what this does, it allows you to register your mark in multiple countries by doing one application in your home country, right? So this is something that is of great benefit for anyone, but especially business owners or businesses which wish to branch out outside of Jamaica. So if you wish to have your product sold in other countries, this is very beneficial to you, all right? So here I'm just gonna give you a short synopsis of what is involved in, yeah, I see somebody have their hand raised.
Hi, Janice, you can come on.
Apologies, that was an error. That was an error.
Okay, okay, all right then, no problem. So you have the application, which is completion of the trademark application form, and all the forms can be found on our website. So the voluntary copyright registration form can be found on our website. The patent forms, all the relevant forms can be found on our websites, all right? Then you have the formal examination. This is where the application is examined by the JIPO staff to see if everything is in order. The form has been completed correctly. Then you have the substantive examination. This is where the trademark that you have provided is compared to pre-existing trademarks to see if there are any ones out there that are similar. If there are any ones that are similar and would likely cause confusion. So as it relates to trademark, one of the main things we always look for is whether or not there's a likelihood of confusion. Because if you do a trademark for your restaurant where you sell chicken and it's very similar to the KFC trademark, for example, or the KFC logo, well, it goes without saying that you're not going to get that trademark registered because that's going to cause confusion. People going past your restaurant and say, oh, KFC. And when they go in there, it's not KFC. That's going to cause confusion. So that's one of the things we always look for, right? And bear that in mind whenever you're designing your logos or your trademarks, when you're doing a business, to ensure that it's not similar to pre-existing trademarks in the area of business where you're planning to go into, all right? So in continuing, you have the publication and the opposition. So the proposed mark, it would be published in the Gazette or the trademark journal, and then third parties would have the right to oppose its registration within a specific time. So if they see that the proposed mark is similar to theirs, they can file an objection and so forth, and then it will be dealt with accordingly. If everything is in order and there's no issue in terms of your mark, then it's registered. And as I indicated earlier, it's for a period of 10 years. And when the 10 years you're coming near to the 10 years being up, you can renew it indefinitely, right? So let me here I'm going to highlight some of the intellectual property infringements. So you have the common one where we all know, piracy. So you go downtown, you go halfway through, you see the man selling the bootleg CD. You go on a streaming website, one of the illicit ones where you can watch Premier League matches where you know it's not an official one. All of those things are piracy, right? You have the counterfeits. You have counterfeit as well. So when you buy, when people buy the Jan Sport, and when you look on it, it's not Jan Sport, it's Jam Sport. Or some of them, they even spell it the right way, you know, but it's not the official one, because these counterfeits are getting better and better. So that's what I mean. So the counterfeit Nike, all of these name brands, they usually have some counterfeit version of it. So that's what I mean. And then they also have plagiarism. Plagiarism is normally associated as an academic breach, but it's also an IP breach. So you're taking people's work, you're utilizing people's writings, people's novels, textbook, without acknowledging the source, acknowledging the author, then that amounts to plagiarism. Yes, Alexandria. Even if it's for an online business, it's the same. The registration is the same, because most persons that come in and register nowadays, most people have websites and stuff. So the online business is treated similarly. So if you want it to be protected and prevent others from using it, then yes, it is also required. All right. I don't know if you guys, oh wait, all right, okay. All right, yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way. All right, so some of the strategies to minimize IP infringement includes defensive protection. So that's maintaining secrecy or defensive publication. So like if you have your work, what you do is you don't publish it, or you keep it to yourself. And then you also have the positive protection, which is a registration of your intellectual property assets. And it goes without saying that the second one is the better one, because the issue with defensive protection is that it would clearly limit your ability to earn from your intellectual property. Okay, if nobody knows it exists, then you wouldn't be able to earn from it. So we generally recommend that you identify an IP portfolio. So, and this is good for businesses. So when you're a business, sometimes you'll produce a lot of IP even without realizing. So you'll produce documents during the course of business plans, different kind of items of that. All of those are afforded copyright protection, and persons might want to utilize it. So you need to know what you have to be better able to protect it. You might be doing presentations on a certain topic that's really important and other persons want to utilize it. So just have a record of all your IP, right? It's also good to educate staff on identifying IP rights, issues, and infringement, because it's best to educate your staff so that they don't commit IP infringement. So for the same example, somebody do a PowerPoint presentation, produce a document for the company, and they're committing plagiarism, right? So it's good to educate your staff in that regard. You can also ensure that there are adequate provisions for protection of IP in the following documents: so employment documents, partnership documents, service agreements, all of those things. And let me just briefly, I know I don't have a lot of time, but let me just briefly say why this is important. So in Jamaica, whoever creates the work, so the author, and this is in relation to copyright, the author of the work is the copyright owner of the work, unless there's an agreement to the contrary. So which is why you have employment contracts. So if you're a business owner and you have employees and they create copyright material on the job, if their employment contract doesn't indicate that whatever they create during the course of their employment belongs to the company, then you will have issues if you wish to utilize that copyright work, right? So it's always good to put these things in your employment contracts. If you are an employee, it's good to know these things. So yeah, if it's in an employment contract that anything I create, it belongs to the company, you need to know these things, right? Identify possible infringements and warn infringers legally, usually by a formal cease and desist letter, right? There's also comments in court proceedings, if necessary, seek injunctions and obtain legal IP legal advice from the outset, right? So if you're not sure, get a lawyer, because sometimes people don't want to get the lawyer because of fees and so forth. But if you're found guilty of IP infringement, you can end up be paying more than it would cost you to retain the lawyer. You might lose a trademark, which is a huge part of any business because that's what people relate with their business. So you don't want it to be an issue where somebody is saying, oh, this is too similar to mine, or they want to contest it or anything like that, which is why it's always good to do a due diligence, right? Because this is a business and you have to protect it at all costs. So you have private civil enforcement in the civil courts, and you also have public criminal enforcement by the police and the criminal courts. And that's usually where the counterfeit comes in. So where people utilize your work and they're making a profit from it. So so we're going to indicate now why intellectual property benefits a business. So usually enterprise's assets is generally divided into two categories. Your physical assets, which as indicated include the building, machinery, and the infrastructure. I have your intangible assets, right? So the human capital, brands, designs, and other intangible products, right? So your logo is an intangible asset. Copyright materials that you would have produced or during the course of the business, those are all intangible assets which are beneficial to the business, right? So traditionally, the physical assets would have been responsible for the bulk of the value of the company and were largely responsible for determining the competitiveness of an enterprise in the marketplace. But this has been changing in recent times. And this is as a result of changes in technology and growth in the service economy, right? So with continued changes in technology, intangible assets are becoming more and more valuable, right? And companies are seeing more and more the value of their IP material. So the same way you would protect the business, that the physical building that you're in is the same effort that should be given to protecting the company's intellectual property. So it's a way of earning additional income from licensing or selling your IP, right? So if you have IP material which other individuals wish to utilize, you're able to lease it to them and earn money or sell it. And one of the popular ways of this, or one of the ways you see this in terms of business happening a lot, is franchising, right? So KFC and a lot of the big companies, they franchise out their brand. So you franchise out the KFC brand, or some of the other IP aspects, such as trade secrets, the ingredients and the recipes, and they're able to earn from these because business persons buy these and they pay a lump sum or they pay a lot of money and they're able to earn. And this is not just limited to big companies like KFC and so forth. Small businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises are also able to benefit from this. So if you have a mark that is well known and somebody else wishes to utilize it, then you're able to lease it to them. If you have a copyright material which other persons wish to utilize, you're able to lease it to them and you're able to earn. So this is additional revenue, and we all love additional revenue, right? So valuation of IP. So this is an important, as I indicated, it's an important component of the company's capitalization, right? So as I said, and we indicate a company value, IP assets through revenue by patent licensing, assignment of trademarks through franchising, as I mentioned earlier. Sellers and buyers of IP assets can manage their IP as financial assets, just as investors in stocks, right? And this is, I want you to pay key attention to this. I hope I haven't lost anybody. So this is an act called the security interest in personal property. So what this basically says, I'm just going to get a quick synopsis. This allows you to obtain loan, right? So you can use your physical assets. So, you know, you usually use your property, a building. So if it's a business loan you're seeking, you probably use the building that you occupy or some other physical assets as collateral. This allows you to also use your IP along with the physical assets to strengthen your collateral. So you're able to obtain loans from that, right? And also JIPO along with the ministry, where there are talks ongoing where we're seeking to have business owners or anyone utilize their IP on its own as collateral to obtain loans. So that is something that's ongoing. Talks are ongoing with the financial agencies. So as small and medium-sized enterprises, you should just keep a listening ear out for that, all right? That's more benefit for you. So failure to consider IP issues may result in fatal losses if your products or services are considered to be infringing the IP rights of others, which is why I say it's key to do your due diligence and have your thing registered. Okay, you don't want to have your brand established and it's been known for a while for somebody to take it to court and say, no, they have already established a brand similar, or that you're utilizing some material that belongs to them, right? At that point, you're at their mercy. You can be forced by the court to stop using that brand, and you basically have to start rebranding, right? So therefore, search the IP register before you use the IP. So you have for trademark, you have the trademark register, you can come and check, compare your trademark with others. You can pay for the service, you can come in office and do it yourself. And I recommend that that's done, right? And register your intellectual property rights. Don't just have them there, register them, right? The facilities are there for you to register them, even if it's the copyright one. Even though the formal registration is not required, take advantage of the voluntary service, right? Because it never hurts to have additional evidence. All right, so in conclusion, it is fundamentally important for small and medium enterprises to protect their IP rights and consider IP issues in developing their business plans and take sufficient measures to ensure that, one, they protect their IP rights, and two, which is equally important, they don't infringe on the IP rights of others, right? So that's the end of the presentation. I think there's a Q&A at the end after the second presentation. So if you guys have any further questions, you can ask me at that point. All right.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Rose, Vivian Rose. And we'll be moving on now to Kenisha Hewitt. And Kenisha Hewitt has been the operations manager at Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, JIPO, for the past 5 years. Prior to being promoted to her current post, she worked as the membership officer, licensing officer, and from time to time, assisted in the distribution department and finance department, collectively covering almost 15 years in the management and administration of intellectual property rights for music creators worldwide at JACAP. Ms. Hewitt, after completing her bachelor's degree in management studies, specializing in marketing, at the University of the West Indies, went on to complete her Masters of Arts from the University of Leicester in the UK in Media, Communications, and PR. She continues to work assiduously, learning and educating members, customers, and international affiliates about the importance of protecting intellectual property. Anisha, in her free time, enjoys road trips across the country terrain of Jamaica, discovering and exploring little gems this beautiful island has to offer. Anisha Hewitt.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. I will be sharing my screen. Good afternoon once again, and I will be making my presentation on JIPO. Now, JIPO is a nonprofit collective management organization that has been established in 1998, and we administer the performance, mechanical, and synchronization rights of lyricists, composers, and music publishers in Jamaica. Now, much of what Mr. Rose had just presented on is some of the things I'll be reiterating, because JIPO covers under the IP of copyright. Now, copyright is the body of laws which grants creators protection for their literary and artistic work. And in Jamaica or here, we call your literacy artistic creation as work. Now, copyright is a property right in the following categories of work. Now, the first one you're seeing where I highlighted original. This is extremely important because our work, for it to be copyright, must be original. So you need to have either an original literary work, a dramatic, musical, or artistic work for it to be copyright. Now, other categories fall under sound recording, film, broadcast, cable program, typographical arrangements of published editions. And I'm sure you'll remember from Mr. Rose's presentation, he mentioned this also. Now, the owner of the copyright shall have the exclusive right to do or to authorize any of the following: to copy the work, to issue copies of the work to the public, to perform the work in public, or in the case of sound recordings, film, broadcast, and cable. To play or show the work in public, to broadcast the work, or include it in a cable program service, or to make an adaptation of the work in relation to such adaptation, to do any or all. Now, as mentioned earlier, original work. An original work is anything that is not a copy of something else, should not contain elements of any pre-existing work, must be produced in material form such as recording in writing, includes all creative ideas that are fixed in a tangible form of expression. So that's where you have your copyright. It must be fixed in a tangible expression. Now, just to understand some more what we term as original work, the basic rule is the original creator of a work is usually the owner. Now, the owner of the work is free to assign the copyright to anyone, and this should be done through written agreement. If a copyright owner transfers all his rights unconditionally, it is generally termed as an assignment. When only some of the rights associated with the copyright are transferred, it is known as a license. So licenses are usually limited in scope, such as usage for a specific time or a specific country. Now, you have what is called joint ownership. So in order to have or to be a joint author of a work, each person must, number one, contribute in its original creation and understand at the time of the work that is created that all contributors will be joint owners of the work, of the finished work, right? Now, this, I'm saying, whenever you're doing any type of creation with anyone, you must have what we would term something in black and white, because black and white is key. Now, the rights of the copyright owner ranges from reproduction, which is copying, distribution, public performance, for example, at concerts, in restaurants, in bars, etc. Broadcast, which is an example, is radio broadcasting, and an adaptation. So I think Mr. Rose has mentioned, if you can translate into another language, that's another form. Anyone doing any of the above, whether intentionally or not, without the permission or license of the copyright owner, is infringing copyright. Now, the management of copyright works. The management of the rights relating to an individual use of a copyright work is usually in accordance with the relevant contract between the right holder and the user of the work, carried out by the right holder himself, personally or through a representative. In the case of negotiating for copyright usage with a limited number of users, and or if the copyright owner has a small repertoire, managing their work or managing their own right is preferred by the users. So for example, if I'm a creator of music and my repertoire is very limited, say I only produce 5 songs, then the user, and the user is usually someone who wants those music, say for example, a radio station, then it might be easier for the radio station to negotiate with that owner, since it's only 5 repertoire that person originally has, right? So in that circumstance, it's not as cumbersome as if somebody who has over 1 million songs, right? So in that case, the user will work directly with the owner themselves. Intellectual property owners must, however, first ask themselves these important questions. Do I understand copyright law? Do I understand contract? What are my rights? What is the value on my intellectual property? And what are the economic pros and cons of individual licensing? So if you don't know these questions, we recommend you seek legal advice. Now, this diagram is showing where the management comes in. So you can either manage it yourself, so copyright owner, or you can go to a CMO, collective management organization. In many cases, copyright owners have found it difficult or impractical to license the use of their work themselves. To solve this, copyright owners use collective management organization. This also benefits users as they do not need to negotiate a large number of individual licenses. So this is why it is important as creators to be aligned with certain copyright or collective management organization, which is the same as licensing bodies. So CMOs undertake on behalf of the creator the administrative burden of managing their rights by granting licenses to users and distributing the license fees collected as royalty to the creator. Collective management organizations are independent and private owned, so not governmental. Now in Jamaica, there are 3 CMOs. You have JACAP, which represents songwriters, composers, and publishers, right? So if you are a performer of a song and all you do is perform, then you would not be able to join JACAP. You have to be a creator. You have to either write the lyric or compose the beats or rhythm or be a publisher. You also have JAMS, which is Jamaica Music Society. They represent the executive producers and record companies, or, well, yeah, executive producers and record companies. And we have Jam Copy, which represent authors and publishers of literary works. Now, for rights holders, the collective management organizations provide remuneration to creators by way of royalty payment. They also provide or increase trade rights, which include rights that individual would not be economic to trade. For rights holders as well, the trade-off is they reduce collectively cost, which would benefit the rights holders, and the access to international collective management through reciprocals with societies. So if you are a creator and you're not aligned to a collective management organization, it would be more difficult for you to have any affiliation with other CMOs across the world. So if you have songs playing in, say, Australia, it would be difficult for you to collect if you're not aligned to a collective management organization, because you would not be able to stay here in Jamaica and communicate or know whether or not your music is playing in Australia without the assistance of a CMO. And for users, it is important to be aligned or to be compliant or to have a license from a CMO, because it provides access to local and worldwide repertoire, thus avoiding users trying to find and negotiate with multiple rights holders. So for example, if you want to use a song from, say, Beyonce, you know you need permission to do so. But because you have a license with a CMO, that license grants you permission without Beyonce coming into Jamaica and suing you for using her music, right? So this is why it's important to be aligned to CMO, and it protects you from copyright claims. Now, JCAP, we collect license fees from music users and distribute the money we collect as royalty to the writers and publishers of music. We have reciprocal agreements with overseas affiliates. So just like the example I said before, if you have music playing in several countries across the world, the agreements, the reciprocal agreements we have with these societies in these territories is what we would use to ensure we collect once your music is playing in that country, right? We will collect and distribute those money to you as royalty. Now, the author of any protected work is the first owner of that work, and JCAP represents the first owner who are the primary rights holders for musical works. We are a member of an umbrella organization, which is termed as CSAC, International Confederation of Societies of Authors and Composers, which have 239 members across 123 countries. So you can just imagine, if you know your song is playing in Japan, we cover you. If you know your song is playing in Korea, North or South Korea, whichever of the Korea is a good Korea, we have a reciprocal agreement with them. So it's very important. If you know anyone who is a songwriter and has released music, you should encourage them to join a CMO. You can send them to JCAP. Now, a foreign society will collect 4 Jamaican writers whose works are performed in their country and forward it to JCAP. And reciprocally, JCAP does the same. So we collect the performance money for foreign societies, writers in Jamaica, and we distribute it back to them. Now, we represent 3 types of rights: the public performance rights, film synchronization right, and mechanical reproduction right. Now, performing right is as it sounds. It is a right to perform in public. The film synchronization right, this is where image and music meet. So usually in a film or some type of commercial where you need music to be synced to images. And mechanical reproduction, as it states, it's the right to reproduce a piece of music onto CDs, records, DVDs, etc. Something that is a fixation of the work on media where we are able to hear it being communicated to the public. Now, for us, membership is a JCAP is a membership society. So our members is actually those that you would say owns JCAP because we're a membership society. So JCAP is internationally accepted and proven practical way in which authors, composers, and publishers of music can receive royalties for the usage of their music around the world. The global protection is achieved through reciprocal agreements. And we have over 4,000 local members, millions of international members through affiliates. Our members are usually the lyricists, the composers, and music publishers. And our membership is lifetime unless you are asked to resign. Now, for persons who want to become members, they need to have proof of commercially release music. So it has to be a finished piece, not something that you just go in the bathroom and record on your phone. It has to be a complete piece of work that is already out to the public, right? So once it's out, then you can come to us. Now, we offer licenses to music users. The two type of license we offer are blanket licenses and transactional license. Now, the blanket license is usually an annual license. So, for example, say I'm an owner of a hotel that uses music throughout the year. We can offer a blanket license to that hotel. So they would renew that license every year, right? And for the transactional license, say you're having an event and it's a one-off event, then you need a permit for that event. So these are the type of licenses we issue to the public. Now, the economics of blanket licensing is that it provides the opportunity to reduce transactional costs to users and rights holders by giving users the opportunity to access a pool of work. The ability to pay a license fee based on usage music and the size of the venue. So those are the economic benefits of blanket licenses. Now, this is just a brief example of how royalty is generated, just the flow to show you what actually happens in a distribution cycle. So you have the license fee, and these persons here, the cinema, concert events, hotels, local businesses, these persons would be users of music. So they would need either a license or a permit to use music legally, right? So once we collect those monies, those license fee, then we need the data in which to match the what will you say now? We need the data to pay out on. So we get direct information, and this data is usually which songs are played, right, at the events, which songs are used in the cinema, which songs are used at the hotel. So we have systems in place that can give us the information we want. We have a monitoring system called BMAT. Now, this monitors every radio station in Jamaica, every TV station, and we still get radio logs from these entities just the same. So we know what is played every day at whichever time. We have direct allocation where we go to events, or we get the listing of music played at events. So whether live performances, whether the stage shows, well, live performances are usually stage shows, but permit events such as one-off events, etc., we get the information, and this is during our data collection. Now, the distribution process. Now, this is how we know that, say, Taurus Riley write a particular song, and these are the persons who are on that particular song once that song is registered in our database or another affiliate database. So you can always write a song, but if you don't provide us with the registration information, we will not know, or the system will not know that you have actually created it. So the information we usually take is who are the songwriters and its correct name, who created the rhythm, the correct name, what percentages is in that song. So we do not necessarily represent the artist or the performer, because I can perform, but I may not know how to write a song, right? So we represent the songwriters, right? And a lot of times you may have songwriters who cannot sing. So when the performer that they wrote the song for is on the stage, is performing and collecting their performance fees. The songwriter is at home watching that person perform, but they're not earning. So this is where the CMOs come in play. So we collect for the songwriters who are not able to perform. So once the music is being played on the stage show or wherever, the money we collect from the license fee is what we would pay out to the writers, the persons who don't necessarily go on stage and perform, right? So we get the information from our work registration database and other databases. So we use international databases also. So if we recognize a song and we may not have the information in our database, we can go to other databases to search for those songs, hoping that that person had registered the song somewhere, right? And then we distribute that money to our members and affiliate societies. So this is where, once we finish all this process here, we know that John Brown must receive $200 or John Brown must receive $1 million, right? Or if Beyonce is to get $1 million, so this is the end of the process, is where we pay out and know who should get what. Now, below is a small example of how the collect, say we collect $1,000 and 4 songs is in one log, right? So this is how we would pay out on that $1,000 for these 4 songs. So say, for example, 1 song is played 4 times from this log. Then you know that that 1 song plays 4 times and that's $400, right? So if the 4 songs are played 1 time, then this is how it is broken down. So each step, it tells you if the song plays twice, this is what you would receive. I'm sorry, if the song, if 2 songs is played 3 times, sorry, then this is what the song will receive. So this is just an example of how it would, very simple example of how it would be broken down. But you have to remember that in a particular song, you can have many writers because one person can have 1%, one person can have 0.5%, while others can have 50%, or some can have 75%, but it all works up to 100%. Now, royalties, persons must remember that JCAP only pays on active work. So if you have a song that is out there, that is at the radio station and maybe play once in, say, a year, then you must not expect to be paid for that 1 song unless it is captured within our sample rate. So the more the song plays, is a better chance you will earn. So JCAP only pays on active work. So the song must be playing over and over and over in order for you to be caught in the 25% sample rate. And this might seem small, but you must remember that internationally, their sample rates are much smaller than JCAP. So while we're at 25, some sample rates are 8%, some are 4%. But this 25 gives us a chance where, or give our members a chance to be captured more in the distribution cycle, right? So it must fall within that sample period. Now, in summary, just to reiterate, JCAP is a non-profit membership CMO, collective management organization, right? So we make nothing. All the money we collect goes back to the members. The only money that comes to JCAP is to pay our expenses. So the lights, internet, staff, etc. But everything after that goes to the members. JCAP represent the primary rights holders. So the primary rights holders are actually the creators, the persons who write the lyrics, build the rhythm, and publish our members. Without creators, there is no executive producers, there is no producers, there is no record label, because without the song or the creation, then there's nobody else, right? JCAP represents over 3 million rights holders through reciprocal agreements, right? So we might have 4,000 local members, but because we have agreements with many societies across the world, it totals over 3 million persons. We do not discriminate between members and affiliates. Everyone is treated equally. We believe in fair dealings with our users. So you might have some users who do not want to pay, but we have to negotiate and be fair with every users, right? We report annually to CSAC, which is the international body. We distribute royalties on a fair and non-discriminatory basis. We conduct operations with integrity, transparency, and efficiency, right? And our mandate is to ensure its members are equitably remunerated for their intellectual property. And that's the end of my very short presentation.
Thank you. Yes, both of your presentations were, I would say, very deep. But we learned a lot. I'm sure that everyone learned a lot. So we have some questions, and Alexandra wore a whole heap. Okay, so she says she has more than one question. All right. If the music or rhythm is made by AI, but I created the lyrics, is it individual or joint or copyrighted, privately owned? That's one question. Would it be legally the person? Also, if produced, then can it be used by others? For example, played on a radio station, streaming, permission from the AI creator? Can you make royalties off of it? So there's a question that Alexandra has here in the chat. So Kenisha, I'm assuming that that's for you. Do you see it?
I was trying to read along. But let me see where I am. So if the music or rhythm is made by AI, artificial intelligence, but I created the lyrics, is it individual or joint? Well, once you created the lyrics, so you are the original creator for the, you have the authorship. Now, artificial intelligence, no. That probably is out of my scope, but you'd have to explain to me, is it that you just say to whatever, create something that sounds like this for me? How does artificial intelligence come in play? Because I don't know, is it gonna take something from out the air? How would it create the rhythm? I don't get that part. You'd have to explain more in that area. Copyright. Once it's original, you can copyright it. Once it's original, you put in a tangible format, it's copyright, but you protect it by joining or by going to JIPO or doing what is called poor man copyright, or you register it with the National Library of Jamaica. So you have several ways in which you can protect it. Would it be legally the person? I don't understand what you mean. Would it be legally the person?
Okay, Alexandra, you can go ahead.
Maybe you can
Yeah.
unmute and speak freely.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so I mean like the music itself, like the rhythm, like if you make with like the computer and it's generated by itself, that's what I mean. Like, do you own it or does a person, like example, if you get off a website and the background music, do you own the music along if you sing or above the actual instruments that was used? That's what I was trying to ask actually.
Well, if you get the rhythm from somewhere before, then someone would have created that rhythm. So you can't claim copyright for something that you did not create.
Okay, understood.
So you'd have to find out whoever that, right? So you'd have to find out who originally created that rhythm. But what you can do, you can share copyright for the complete song itself. So your lyrics plus the individual's rhythm. So you can split it 50-50. So 50 for your lyrics, 50 for the rhythm. But you have to know, or you have to give ownership to whoever created the rhythm. You can't claim on it. You can be sued. You'd be infringing someone's copyright.
Okay, so suppose it's like a group of people that created the rhythm. Would I have to give them like 10% each, or
Well,
would it be collective?
if it's a group of persons, then you decide. There's no set percentage to say, okay, if it's 10 persons, it's divided by 10. No, because you can do more than the other 9. You may do maybe 50%, but the other 9 do the remainder of the 50. You understand? So there's no set percentage for anything. Everything you have to decide together that, okay, I'm going to take 5% or someone is going to take 12%. You have to each decide what the percentage share is. There's no set. The only set is that lyrics by itself is 50 and rhythm or composition by itself is 50. So if you have 10 persons that write the song, say the lyric aspect, then that 10 persons share that 50%. If you have 2 persons that created the rhythm, then that next 50 is shared between those 2 persons, whether 25-25 or whether 15-35. You have to decide how you break down the percentage share.
Okay, thank you. Understood. But I have another question as part B in that since it can't be copyrighted, so you won't be able to be played on any like radio stations or streaming because that will still lead to the same first question you were saying about the percentage. I'm not sure if you understand.
Go again.
Okay,
I
so
don't understand what you said. Since it can't be copyrighted, what do you mean?
no, because you're saying, yeah, I would have to share like the percentage. What you're saying before about sharing the percentages with a particular group or by whoever created the rhythm. But since it might not be copyrighted in this case because it would belong to them, would I have to get permission to play on like a radio or a streaming site? That's what I was trying.
No.
Okay,
Once
that's what I
you
was about.
once you're not claiming on the person's copyright, then it can be played on the radio. It's just that you have to ensure you give credit to whomever. So say you don't know who the person who created the rhythm. What you can do, you can register the song just the same, but for the part where you would put, okay, rhythm owner, you're unsure. So you can put for now unknown, and then you assign that 50%. So it will tell whomever that you did not claim on the rhythm side. You understand? Even though we're trying to ensure that once you work with someone, you get their correct information, there might be instances where it's not readily available. But in order not to stop your progress, in quotes, you can ensure whenever you go to that CMO and you write up the form, you say, okay, I don't really know who owns the rhythm. I can try and get that information at another time, but I still need to register my song because and it's going to be on the radio, etc., right? Then you can say, okay, unknown composer, and then you put that 50%, and then you put your name as a writer, 50%. But you have to try and find out who owns the amount. You're unable to know who created the rhythm.
Okay, thank you, Miss Hewitt.
All right, anyone has any other questions? No? All right, so if you have any other questions, we can always direct you to Ms. Hewitt or Mr. Rose. Oh, Taraz, set your hand up. 1 second, 1 second.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I have a quick question. Let's say I write training manuals for not just my workplace, but for my business as well. Which company do I go to if I want to copyright this to me?
All right, so Ms. White, so Well, basically with JIPO, as I indicated, the protection would be automatic. But if you wish to do the voluntary copyright registration, you will come to JIPO to further protect that manual, that training manual.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Oh, sorry, I was speaking. I didn't know it came off. Okay. All right. So you say that it will be automatic if I say write training manual and stuff like that. But if I need additional protection or ownership right, I would come to you guys. JIPO.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. That's all I have. Sincerely apologize for the hold. All right. So your representative is Ms. Paddy.
All right, so I think that we have come to the end. It's now 3:30. So what we're gonna do is just wrap up now. So thank you so much, Mr. Rose, Vivian Rose, as well as Kenesha Hewitt. So this webinar will be put on our YouTube channel so that if you want to go back and listen to it, slow it down, check back on something that you may have read or heard and you weren't sure about it, you can always check back on it, right? So thank you so much again for joining. And we will have another one. I think the next one we will be having will be at the end of the month, where we will invite JACAP to come and speak, along with I think Jams as well. So, and there's also a patent grant by DBJ. So I'm going to try to see if I can get someone from DBJ to also come and speak about their patent grant. All right. So thank you guys for coming. And good day.